right, Jose, let me dive in here to the next deal structure Sunday. Welcome, my friend. I think this is your first deal structure, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You're famous. First one. This is going to go down in history.
Okay.
All right. Then, Jose, maybe we start with, for the Wicked Smart viewer, just what market you're in, what you do, and just so they have a context of who they're talking to, and then we'll dive into your deal.
Sure, sure. I live in West Virginia, but it's the suburbs of Washington, D.C. community. So the area that I primarily market is Washington, D.C., Maryland, West Virginia, Northern Virginia. And so that's the area that I get most of my leads from.
Cool. And you're how many years in the military, and now you have your own business aside
I
from
did
this?
close to 30 years in the military, and I retired back in 2004. Then I did another 17 years as a defense contractor. Okay, very similar to Rick and defense contracting, and I still had that W-2. It's hard to give up that W-2. Okay, and so but I broke away last year. I retired at June of 21, and I've been doing this full time. I also have a home inspection business called Win Home Inspections, which I do that along with doing real estate on the side. And so I've got two businesses now at home, and I'm working more hours now at home than when I was working a W-2. So
I love it. I love it. Well,
but I enjoy
each other,
more.
right?
Yes, they do. They do.
And what were you going to say?
I enjoy doing this more, though. I really do, because I'm doing what I like.
I love it. And I can't assume that the viewers, like, this is their 50th video or 100th. So let's assume some people are brand new. We are on a serious mission to help people escape from the JOB. And so when you heard Jose say Rick's on his third deal. I don't even know if you knew that, but he's closing two buyers, Jose. So he's on his third cash out. And when you add up all his paydays, he's over 300 grand in three deals. It's just really cool. And he's about to escape. I love it. Okay, for context, we're going to tell these guys what type of deal this is, because this is not a deal that we're revenue sharing like we do with most associates, because we always tell them if they have their own property, we're happy to help them. And this was the case, right, Jose? This is your rental house.
Yes, it was. I bought this rental house back in about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, when I was doing my own dabbling in real estate, and I thought I was going to start buying rental homes all over the place and manage them that way, and that's how I was going to make additional income. I soon realized that there are so many different other options on how to create monies using real estate, and this is why I'm here today.
I love it. So instead of renting this and having the headaches as a landlord, you said, why don't I pivot now that I know this and do a rent to own? And I didn't have to do much of this because you already got the house. So my son Nick helped you through because he's our buyer specialist. So there's no like debt or equity to talk about. Well, I will ask you this. In the last, how long have you owned this for, this house?
For over 4 years now. Yeah.
Have you had successful renters all the time, or was some of them, like, did you have any headaches or no?
No, I did not. I had a property management team taking care of the house, and this was in Indiana.
Yep.
And so in Lebanon, and so that's how I basically manage it. They charge you 10% of the rents and so forth, and that's how it's done.
So I didn't ask you any of these questions. This is pretty cool. We're just being live here. So how much did you net after maintenance and everything per month or per year in this house in the past?
About 12,000.
About $1,000 a month. That's actually really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was doing about a grand a month. So
okay, so with that as a backdrop, now I want to see where we get to. I don't know the answers here. Nick would know if he was here. So we sold it for how much?
189.9.
189.9. Okay, deposit from the buyer upfront and over time if it's applied here.
Yeah, the deposit, total first payday would be the 17,200.
Almost 10%.
Yeah.
Love it. Was that all upfront or no?
No, it wasn't. Upfront was about almost $8,000, and the rest is coming in stages.
And again, for context for the viewers, we'll often do this because not everybody has the 17 grand up front in this case.
Right.
Many do, like I'd say a third to a half, but a lot of other people will say, well, no, but I have a raise coming, or I have a bonus coming, or I can cash out stock, or I can go to my 401k, or I have tax refunds. So in your case, where did they come up with the extra 9 or whatever grand over time? Where'd that come from? Do you know?
Okay. The gentleman has a pretty good job. He's earning about close to 7,000 a month, and so he'll be able to subsidize it from his savings. The initial down payment, I think, came from his 401.
Awesome. See, so we got some variety there. Okay.
Right.
Your monthly payment on your own house is how much?
$850.
Is that PITI?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for the viewers, sorry if I use vernacular, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. He's all in at 850. What do we get from the tenant buyer?
970 now, and that includes then, of course, the tax piece.
Everything. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So the net on that's 120 bucks. How long a term did you give them? I'm curious because you own the house.
24 months. He would be ready.
Okay, so what's the payday 2 here?
The payday two is looking at 2880. Basically, I multiplied 24 months times the 120, gave me that 2880.
Okay, very good. Payday 1, payday 2.
It's
Payday, oh, sorry,
got
guys.
one too many zeros there.
2880, yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
That would be way too lucrative.
Yeah.
2880, small spread. While
Right.
that spread is taking place, what are we
Right.
getting on the principal pay down?
The principal pay down was close to, let's see, 299 a month. You multiply that times 24, that gave me 7176.
Okay, so a couple things I want to point out, and then I want to go back to price premium because it's not like you bought this, but I'm sure you use some sort of a base,
Correct.
meaning bought it now. So I'm writing 24 months visually so that the viewer can see it is highly likely, I hope, and if not, I'll talk about this later, that Jose considers owner financing this particular buyer instead of having them cash him out, because these paydays we're showing you are bare minimum. So were you
Right.
thinking that way, Jose?
Yes, I am. When I look at the debt that I have right now, it's about 83,300,
Okay.
83,000. And so I'm looking at, I think I put that question out to you asking, hey, is there any way I could possibly, after the 2 years, finance it myself? I
Yes.
think that would.
100%. I want you to. So in about 12 months, remind me. So we got a price premium of about 90 grand then.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a price premium of that. We got principal pay down of 7176, but then we got to minus out the deposit, obviously, because we took that when we go to close this, if we close it.
Correct.
Okay. So what does that mean for a payday 3 cash out? Again, if we cashed out in 24, which we probably won't.
It'd be $90,956.
Well, just payday 3. We'll total them in a minute.
Right.
So what's just 3?
I'm sorry, the payday 3, then after you back out the payday 1, comes out to 70,876.
Right, I got it. That looks better. So when you add these 3 up, Jose, what are we talking about for total profit here if we cash out?
If we cashed out, then it would be 90,956.
All right. I invite everybody to really get a grip on what just went on. He's got a house that he owes only about 80 something thousand dollars on. He would have continued to rent it out and make 12 grand a year. Cool. But instead, if he chooses to cash this house out in a 2-year time frame, he brought in on an average of 45 grand a year, almost 46.
Right.
Now, just think about that, and then think about 90,000 profit on a home that he owed about 80 something thousand on. For most people, they don't understand it until they look at our trademarked 3 payday system. Now, just for context for everybody, and then I'll ask you some nuances about the buyer.
Okay.
For context, it's important to know, we call it wealth stacking, but what happens is we'll get to the point in about month 12 or 18 where we go to the buyer who in their mind thinks they're going to a bank, in their mind thinks they have to go through underwriting, in their mind knows that they have to pay points and fees and all that, and say, hey, how would you like to avoid all that? We'll just owner finance you. And that deal can turn into a 20-year deal, or they could cash them out anytime they want with a refinance. But it's highly likely if he makes it advantageous for them, then they're going to go on to financing. We just closed one this week where we did this exact same thing. So, right. Any nuances? I have two questions. One is any nuances about this buyer or buyer background in general that we should know? Because people ask, well, why would a buyer do that? Why don't they just go get a loan? And then the second piece I'd like to know, Jose, is any kind of aha moments you had going through this process with Nick, my son Nick, because this was your first deal, literally, that you got done. So let's take the first one. Give me the background of the buyer. Like, why did they do this?
Well, the individual was going through a divorce, and he had two daughters that he wanted to have a home where he can come to. He gets the children every other week, and so he wanted to have a place of his own where they can come together as a family. And so I thought that was a really touching, reason as to why he wanted to get into the house.
Yeah. Now what? Now, okay. So that begs, why couldn't he go buy one on his own? What was the underlying factor that they needed our pathway?
He did have some issues as far as his credit, and what he needed to do then work with our, of course, third party, Paul Ritter.
Yep.
And Paul Ritter really put a good program together for him to be
Yep.
able for him to be able to meet his goal. And I honestly think that he can probably achieve it in 18 months instead of 24.
Good. So I think in about 9 to 12, you might want to start that conversation about owner financing. But you did him a huge favor because now he puts his credit back in order. He has options in life. He can actually go do something else and not have a mortgage sitting on his credit because you don't own a finance him. That's pretty cool.
Right.
All right. Now, in no particular priority order, any ahas you had from working with Nick or the team or this process, because it's your first deal, whether about the house or the buyer or anything about it?
Yeah, there was several ahas. I always tell folks that it's interesting that I was able to learn about the sales process and working with buyers on the phone and so forth, and understanding the whole process even before I got a take. And then a few weeks later, I got two takes after.
Let's tell the viewer what a take is. So we call them take-ins. Jose calls them takes. I love it. What that means is a take-in is a home that he went, met a seller, signed a contract. Now he controls it or bought it. That's what a take-in is. But go ahead.
Right. And so it was great just working with Nick, going through that whole process, because one of the first things that I learned with Nick is I've got to trust and I've got to have faith. Okay. You see 189.9 for the price, but he actually put it up to 199.9. Okay. And I honestly, if I was going to do this on my own without the background that I have now, I would have settled for like 145, 150 for the house.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't hear you say it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so to me, to even get 189.9 is an awesome number. It was much higher than I would have probably sold it on my own, okay? But just being able to do that, when he put it up to 199.9, and we waited like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and we really didn't have a lot of activity. He asked me to lower it down. He has a plan. We have a plan that we follow. And that plan is a methodical way of reducing it so many days, and you're still making money, but we're doing it in a very methodical way. And that was a big aha for me in that process.
I love it. Usually the students say, as you now know, hey, when I talk to Nick, I made an extra 10, an extra 50, an extra whatever.
Right.
Okay, so I have, because this is your first deal, Jose, I'd love, well, and because we just met in person at our live event. Now, we knew each other from Zoom. We all felt like we knew each other, and I frankly forgot who met in person and who didn't. But we all came together recently at our QLS live event, and we have another event coming up in 5.5 months. I would just like you from the heart to tell people, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. what did you feel at the event, or what did you see, whatever? And then why should someone watching this who never came to any of our events, there's plenty of people that haven't, why should they be there in March of 23?
I would say they need to be there in March because the communication and what you get over Zoom or doing it on computers is limited. It's even with all the technology we have, it's limited. It's not like going in person and you have so much chatter that's going around live and you're talking to people and you're meeting people for the first time and you have time to have better conversation. And so I got a lot more out of that, and I definitely know that for me, if I had the opportunity, it's best to go in person. You get a whole lot more out of it. And so, we went through that COVID issue, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing that could replace going in person and meeting the people and learning from one another that way. And the camaraderie that you build on that, I think that was just totally outstanding.
Yeah, and then let's now take it to the next level. Let's say that the Wicked Smart viewers have never, they don't even know who we are, let's say, because there's plenty of new viewers, right? We get a lot of views, but I don't know who's, as I said earlier, they're on the 150th video, they're on the first. So why or how is the Wicked Smart community or family different, in your opinion, from other real estate programs out there? And maybe you don't have a comparison, but I just want to get your thought on that, and then I'll give these guys a chance to get a discount on the ticket.
Well, it's interesting. I attended a lot of courses. I did a lot of courses while I was civilian life and in real estate, but none of them really took me to the point of locking arms, working together, and they're in the trenches right there with me. And I think that was the big aha for me, for us to be able to learn together one-on-one. And then the interaction, the constant interaction. If you've got a question, so you put it out there on Slack, and you make friends that way, people that can come alongside you with any issue. You always see people that are at different stages of having experience in real estate, and this community really helps one another in getting that accomplished.
Yeah, so for the viewer to know, we have our community of associates talks on Slack. It's just another communication platform. And funny, Jose, you said that. I was on this morning. I can't get on there all the time, but I got on this morning and the membership was lit up. So I clicked it to see if I could help someone. Someone asked a question and about 4 or 5 associates already answered it, to your point, right? You don't get one answer, you get a plethora of help.
I talk to people weekly from the community, and I think just the sharing back and forth is such an important factor in learning our process, because there is a lot of information to learn.
Yeah.
And but you feel, very similar to being in the military. Okay, in the military, you have teams of people putting their minds together to solve issues, to solve problems. This community reminds me a lot of that. These folks coming together and working together, all for a good cause.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment, because I have the utmost respect for military in general. So appreciate you, buddy. Let me give the Wicked Smart listeners a 50% off opportunity. The website, which is not even fully built out yet, because we run these every 6 months and we've got to always update speakers, is wickedsmartsummit.com. However, if you'd like to get on the list now at 50% off, we do like rewarding action. Life does reward action, as do we. You can go to smartrealestatecoach.com/50 off, 50 off, 50% off the ticket. Jose, appreciate you, buddy. I can't wait to get you back on here for your second and third deal. I love it.
Right. Thank you.